Hello and welcome to this edition of Rethink India Masterclass. Today we have a prolific principal with us who believes that God leads our mind and ignites it with power of wisdom and truth. I think it is more than the alchemist thing. Only yesterday we were interviewing Professor P.B. Sharma, the founding Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi Pradyogiki Vishwavidyalaya, uh, who made a reference to Madame Curie's uh, address in 1943, which was 25 years of commemoration of the discovery of radium, where Madame Curie herself emphasized upon the spiritual power of science. I think our today's maestro, Madam Jyoti Arora, who leads the Mount Abu Public School, which is interestingly located in Delhi itself, she resonates with that same ethos that God leads our mind and it ignites it with power of wisdom and truth. We welcome you, ma'am, to this Rethink India Masterclass. And we are prepared to be your students for the next 35-40 minutes and have some curious questions about the prolific work which you are doing at your school and beyond that. Madam is also the National Commissioner Guides of Hindustan Scouts and Guides. She is a strong votary of the precept of mentorship, and she is someone who backs very strongly for the updation of facilitators. To faculty, she refers the term as facilitators. So, ma'am, the first curiosity is we have heard about Delhi public schools to be in different parts of the country. How come Mount Abu has come in the heat and dust of Delhi? Just to start with.
Namaskar everyone. Thank you very much for your kind words of introduction, and thank you very much Rethink for inviting me here, for having me here for this nice conversation. It's a very common question coming to me. So many people, they usually ask me how come the name of the school is Mount Abu, and they take it like either we have some connection with this headquarter of Brahma Kumaris, we have some connection of this spiritual field, and then some usually also think that maybe we belong to Rajasthan and it comes from there. So the simple, sober answer to this question is the name of the school was named by the founder chairman, Shirdi and Arora ji. And when I asked him the same question, because it's a very common question, as I said before coming to me, he said, okay, Mount Abu has always fascinated me in terms of its purity, serenity, the culture this place carries, and the rich values this place carries with its name. So at the time of naming the school, I was with 2 or 3 of my management people, and we were simply discussing about to name the school. And then I thought, okay, I ultimately want this school to be a center of spirituality, emotions, purity, sincerity, serenity. So I thought, okay, what else could be a better name than Mount Abu? So the school was named as Mount Abu, and certainly we always strive to attain those heights. Though Mount Abu is not, if we have to look at the height, it's not, but it's of values, tradition, and culture. So that's the reason the school was named as Mount Abu.
It's quite a daring and a daunting step because recognizing the spirit of Mount Abu, those serene hills, the values and ethos which they represent, and bringing them to the hustle and bustle of the national capital is quite a visionary step in the right direction.
You know, ultimately, though, we look forward for happiness, for peace, for satisfaction at the end of the day, wherever are we in any of the corner of the world. So we look forward for that kind of satisfaction and happiness. And this name is having that soothness, that calmness, that peacefulness in its name.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we just name it twice, thrice, we feel like that we are in Mount Abu, that place wherein there is all happiness and peace around.
Mm-hmm. It's really Ma'am, you really resonate with Madam Curie's speech. We were just playing the video just yesterday. The spiritual power of science, which Madam Curie resonated way back in 1943. And we were really astonished and really elated to read this inspiring adage in your profile, where you acknowledge very boldly and very courageously, giving this power that our minds are ignited with wisdom and truth by a supreme power. So in this current scientificology where we try to generally refrain from the spiritual ethos in our educational ecosystem. So how come this, is there a personal story, or is this the entire, I would say, the educational ecosystem at your school, it reverberates with this spirit?
First of all, though, I would like to acknowledge the great contribution of Madam Curie with all my due respect and regards, the way she had shown us the directions. And now coming on to resonance with this scientific approach and the spirituality, one thing is very clear. If you look at the motto of the school, it says, "We trust in God." The motto of my school is, "We trust in God." And the name itself has lots of spirituality in it. So, you know, 3-4 years back, when we were discussing a lot about the kind of indiscipline happening in the students, the kind of aggression going up in the adults, and the way children have started behaving like adults, and somehow they are losing on childhood. And we started talking very high about value education, though value education had always been a subject in the school, which I always advocate that value education can never be taught through a subject or in a class of 30-35 minutes. This is something which has to be practiced. So when we were talking about how to bring those values, how to integrate values through our curriculum, so there was one simple answer to my understanding, that we really need to connect our students to values through spirituality, because spirituality is the way forward to reach to the values. You know, we talk very high about let's do this activity will have certain set of values, and children will learn and understand. Value is one thing which has to be practiced, and for that practice, this way has to be there. Spirituality is one great aspect of our education, which usually we misunderstand by some religion kind of teaching and all that. Spirituality has to do nothing with any particular religion. So when it comes to spirituality, it starts with meditating. So we introduced 10 minutes meditation as a compulsory period in our school. Our day begins with 10 minutes meditation through centralized mics. Everyone meditates, and we invite teachers also, those who are good at taking the children through this. And then this is one such activity which I've just taken it here. So to my understanding, if we really want to ignite the mind of children we are dealing with, because we are dealing with different age group, we have a child of 3 years also, we have a child of 17 years old also. So there is one common thing which really helps anyone, any person of any age, that is spirituality. That gives you inner peace, that gives you inner calmness, that gives you a way to move forward, that gives you more and more achievement. Because if you are with a peaceful mind, if your thought process in the right direction, if you are having a positive frame of mind, certainly you achieve a lot in your life. So for that achievement, I think spirituality is one way. Day before only, I was in a panel discussion when we were talking about integration of EQ, emotional quotient, SQ. Somebody said SQ means social quotient. I said I would like to add SQ as a spiritual quotient also. Because I really advocate a lot that spirituality should somehow be a part of our curriculum, should be a part of our routine activities, whatever we are doing in the school. Somehow we really need to connect, because that will give our children a clear thought process, what is right and what is wrong. Why not to go on this side, and why do we need to adopt this direction? So that is our role and responsibility as a teacher, as an educator, that we really need to want to show them the path, and that cannot be done only through a simple lecture. Going to the class, talking about this is right, this is not right. No, I think we need to create platforms wherein they are connected and then they start understanding the importance of values in their life, and ultimately that's our goal. Whatever we are doing as a system, as a school system, we simply focus on achieving through the best platforms we could create in the school. And when it comes to achievement, it's altogether makes education, and education is a process wherein we have to look into the development of the child in all aspects. It's physical, social, emotional, spiritual. We have to take care of every aspect of the growth of the child.
Invoking the inner compass, I think this is a very human service, madam, the school is doing under your stewardship. You also happen to assume a very important position in the regulatory aspect of India's school education, and your views and your pronouncements probably they shape up a lot of policies and practices. Being the member of result and examination committees, no small, I would say, responsibility, because as you said, accomplishment in the school years, it is all about the academic accomplishment, and you are at that governing end. So how come these, I would say, this philosophical precept which you have, which you are professing at your school, in what all ways it is expanded to the larger gamut of the Central Board of Secondary Education, especially when it comes to results and examinations and accomplishments, which are having a tremendous stress on the younger population in this current era?
I was a part of Result and Examination Committee of CBSE. Now I am the governing body member of Central Board of Secondary Education out of 4 elected principals in the country. So whether it is CBSE or any other platform or my own school, whenever it comes to a decision taking or policy making, and this is something which I always say to my teachers as well, that you always keep your own child in the center, then you start thinking. Then you come out with the best of the best possible solutions, best of the best benefits for the child, because the entire system, whether it is a school or number of schools or together a board like the biggest board of the country, Central Board of Secondary Education, having more than 22,000 schools. But ultimately the child is in the center, and the interest of the child should always be the first and prime most concern and priority. So you just keep your own child into that footstep, and then you see what goes well. Because whatever we do, there will be policies by the policy makers, and there will be certain stampings on those policies. But I'm a very, very simple in my thoughts and in my dealings, whether it is my own school or whenever I represent schools in these meetings of Central Board of Secondary Education. The interest of the child should be the prime most concern. And this is our responsibility, not only professional responsibility, this is our moral responsibility as well. I don't know how many of us never wanted to be in this profession of education, but there was something at the back. There was supreme power who brought us here. You know, I appeared for my medical entrance examinations. I appeared for so many other examinations, but ultimately I chose teaching as my profession or a career. Because that love and passion which I carry for the children, I could feel it at a very early stage. There is something which is forcing me to do more and more. By looking at the children in my own vicinity, I start thinking about. So it should always be child-centered. It should be always in the interest of the child. And it should be very, very simple. I really don't want to complicate the things. And I always believe in lots of positivity. You enter into my school building, you see a big size board. It's very clearly written, this is a positive zone. Please do not bring any negativity inside. You are most welcome to enter, but without, you have to shed out all your negativity here. We are open for any sort of discussions you want. We can have as many dialogues as you want, but positivity is one such area where I focus a lot. And that's the reason that my school is flooded with lots of community services programs. Only because getting my children connect with the community will certainly create that positivity. And if we really want to minus this negativity around, if we have to deal with the uncertainty, then we have to create more and more positivity. That is the only way. There is no medicine made for this to do away with the negativity. the only medicine to do away with the negativity is having lots of positive thoughts in your mind, all create all positive spaces around. So it sometimes it really becomes difficult when it comes to a decision taking, policy making. Ultimately, though, our government is the concerned authority to take all decisions. But I always feel like being very, very simple in my approach, in taking all my concerns forward, in taking all my concern forward. Okay, this is what I simple think, because I am all the time surrounded by children. I can feel the feeling of the children, whether a child is 3 plus, 5 plus, 8 plus, or 17 plus. So we are the practitioners. When we are all the time within our children, who else can understand them better than us? So I simply put forward these are my feelings, and this is the formula which I usually use whenever I have to take a decision with regard to my own school.
Ma'am, I think we missed on that, but this is a very, very influential position where you are representing the voice of 22,000 odd schools at the policy making level. Now, one governance question which just haunts us, strikes us. What is your personal thought about the balance between centralized regulation and decentralized adoption and adaptation of the decrees which are made from a centralized body? So how is this balance is being struck at the Central Board of Secondary Education, where you are one of the four members, one of the four member principals of this illustrious governing body? Because education is something which is very, very contextual. It is not just that the district magistrates have to comply with a kind of a regulatory, a law and order situation, because you are nurturing the life, you are nurturing the next generation out there. So how do you personally see to it, and what is the general trend at CBSE going on as of today?
Though it's a very, very sensitive kind of question, but never mind. When it comes to CBSE, I have found this board the most child-friendly board, because I have been into the governing body of Central Board of Secondary Education. I have seen the way the decisions are being taken. The child concern is always kept into mind with all positive things. And one common what should I say, the feel which I have, whether it is a centralized thing or decentralized thing, that when it comes to a child, everyone has a very soft corner. Everyone deals with the concerns of the child in a very, very sensitive manner, sensible manner. So I don't think there is lots of fight there. Fight maybe with the system the schools are running, but when it comes to the child, everyone, whether it is means the person may be of holding any position of in any sphere, but everybody feels concerned with the child, and the child is always kept in the mind. And Central Board of Secondary Education is doing a lot for the children. You know, in the last 7-8 years, I have seen, maybe 10 years, because I have seen a tremendous change. The CBSE is working. It's getting more and more competency based education board, because previously the entire focus was majorly on content based learning. And when this CC was introduced, it was a very clear sign, it was a very clear indication that we do not want to produce children having just a bank of knowledge in their mind. That we really wanted to have children, those who are ready to compete the world. Now you think about the present situation, wherein because of this crisis, the entire world is suffering, and our world is going through very, very tough times, and there is lots of uncertainty around. This is the high time then when we have to think a lot about our role in the education system, because this crisis will have its ripple effects, and we have to produce pro thinkers who are the students we have to produce as pro thinkers, those who are ready. Though first of all they understand the challenges coming ahead, and they are ready, they know the solutions. Okay, these are the challenges and these are the ways probably we can come out of all these problems. So our role lies there, creating lots of platforms for the children to learn and grow, and then they should be all set to act according to the situation. The education, the meaning of actual education is preparing a child who can deal with all the circumstances, the child who can face all the adversities coming in life, the problems coming ahead. So that kind of discussion is always there in CBSE, that what can we do next, what can we do next. Like recently they introduced 21st century skills for the children, for the schools. And CBSE is emphasizing a lot that leaders should take it forward through their teachers and to the students, because this is the need of the hour, wherein we really need to address all these skills in our curriculum. Because ultimately we do not want a degree holder student who is there in the society and having no good place, and we are not even clear about the kind of jobs we will have over the period of 5 years or 10 years with too much intervention of this technology. So we do not know where are we going to land up finally. So our responsibility, whether it is a school or the board, is to look into the current situation, the current demands of education, and then moving ahead with those demands. And CBSE is doing a fair well job. CBSE is understanding what kind of changes are being brought in into the education system, where is the mindset of the children, what kind of teachings, learning processes, pedagogies are needed. I think it's moving in a very, very right direction, entirely for the benefit of the child.
I think when ma'am said that it is all child-centric governance at the core, it reassures completely, because then everything falls in place when the centroid is the child after all. Ma'am, you mentioned a very lovely concept, and this is very rarely found, or I would say very rarely enunciated in such an expressive format. You said that you ask your teachers to treat their students as their own child. So this parenting form of treating your own students is quite, I would say it's a game changer. It changes everything. Empathy comes in, and you start taking care of it. You also have a very unique trust and belief in the sincerity, in the dedication, and in the adaptability of the younger generation. Now, this optimism is quite rare, again, I would say. And you don't mince words when you say all this. And then you also put up that what kind of an ecosystem is required to keep this younger generation enthused and elated, and to remain sincere and dedicated and adapting to the newer practices of learning. You mention a very important point over there. Giving focused attention is fine. You also talk about creating an inspiring atmosphere. And you said a bit of extra care. So what is this bit of extra care which you feel makes all the difference in the learners?
Again, it's a very common practice which I have been practicing in my school system from last many years, because I'm a strong believer that whatever we want to get out of our students or the system, we have to create an environment for that. Just talking about that we want positivity around will not help. We have to create that kind of environment. So I simply tell my teachers, you pen down your requirements. What kind of requirements do you have from your classroom or from your students? Pen down your requirements, and then you create an environment. Are we meeting out? Is my environment meeting out all those requirements? Then only you should look forward for output or results. Otherwise, no, because we are dealing with 21st century learners. They are more focused. They are more informative. They are more intelligent than us. Many a times they come up with best of their solutions. So those are the gone years when we never used to take their ideas, or we used to involve them into all sort of discussions. Now I think I may have 20 good practices going on in my system, but I always make it a point that the student is always a part of that practice. We always start with a dialogue and discussion with the student. So that makes you very positive in your approach. That makes you very, because I understand everyone may have a different kind of perspective to handle the situation, and we may have our own way of, but when it comes to sincerity, dedication, passion, all these things together, positivity, certainly leads to all best results. Again, I would say that I take all these problems in a very, very simple manner. That's the reason I ask my teachers, "Okay, had it been your own child, what would you have been thought of finally? You give me your answer. Who else can answer better than a mother?" So we really need to be very simple in our approach rather complicating it too much. So these are the mantras for success, and I always address these issues in my school, that you give your best and rest you leave it up to the God. And if you look at the vision of my school, it says excellence, passion for excellence at par, urge for excellence at par. So I always emphasize a lot on three words: urge. There should be a strong urge to achieve more and more. There should be passion, and there should be excellence, whatever you do. And it's a very, I take it with a very common example. Maybe my students, I don't know how many times they have heard of it. Even if you go to the kitchen to make a cup of tea, you will have to ensure that you come back from the kitchen with the best cup of tea you have in your hands, because you have to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So this is why to waste those 10-15 minutes. Experience a lot. Your kitchen is a small laboratory. Sometimes you try with ginger, sometimes you try with this, sometimes just stating an example. Okay, there are so many opportunities available. You grab all opportunities, and opportunity should be grabbed at the right time. It should not be like once you lose the train and then only you start thinking about it. So you grab all best opportunity. There is so much to learn about. You know, with this sudden lockdown, it was like, what happened, how will we continue, how the classes will happen, all that. Thankfully, my teachers are quite techno savvy, because we are in partnership with Microsoft, and our school has already been awarded as Microsoft Showcase School. So I said, it's why not to turn students home into a small classroom? Why not to teach our mothers that they have to act as a teacher now onwards? We don't know when will we go back to the school. But why to discontinue this learning process? This is our responsibility, great responsibility, to see that we continue with the learning process of the child. We cannot leave the child without having any learnings, because lockdown doesn't mean social distancing is already there. Rather, it should be called physical distancing, no social distancing, thanks to technology for connecting us. So I said, think about the child who is simply at home, surrounded with four walls of the house. What best opportunities we can create for the child to learn more and more. So once you start thinking, considering a student your own child, I think you come up with best of the solutions in the world. I have practiced this number of times whenever I am in my office. Had it been my own daughter, how have I addressed this problem? So we really need to address that our children should be very positive in nature. Our children should have passion for doing more and more. They should have that thirst for excellence, that whatever they do, that goes into the best of the records. Then adaptability is one thing which is very important, flexibility and adaptability. I always emphasize a lot in my school system that children should be adaptive to different situations and kind of situations coming on the way. You know, this was all sudden crisis, and adaptability is the only thing which is helping us out a lot. We adapted technology, we adapted turning our kitchen into a learning lab. Yep. So all this is very important.
I think you just realize that madam is talking all about common solutions, simple things, but they are path-breaking ones.
And these are the fundamental, the first principles, you know. I mean, like, when you are placing the child in the center of the education, the process, you're emanating deep empathy and concern for the end goal. You already have the end goal right in place. So it's like when we say you start the reverse engineering, so you're starting with the goal already, it's already achieved. I mean,
One more thing I would like to add here, if you permit me, that usually we don't create time for thinking. We talk a lot about reading skills, writing skills, listening skills. We always consider core skills. We never think about thinking skills. There is a space to think. If I give you 10 minutes with the solution, with the peaceful time, I can guarantee that you will come out with best of your solutions, best of your solutions. So when I started my journey with this school as head of the school, it was like every day facing new kind of problems coming through the teachers. Ma'am, this happened in the class. Ma'am, this parent is creating this kind of problem, this and that. And every day it was like taking out a solution and giving it to the teacher. Then I thought, oh, but for how long can we continue like this? Every day means I was simply thinking there is a complete shift in my role. Instead of thinking like an educator, I have started thinking like a lawyer. What is right? What is wrong? This should be handled like this. This should be handled like this. So which I really did not like. I simply decided and announced very clearly in my school, every one of you is the leader of your own class. You have certain powers, you have certain liberties to deal with the situations, number one. It's not like there is only one person who will give you the all best solutions. Many times you have better solutions than me, number one. Number two, you are most welcome to enter into my office with set of problems you have, but every problem should have 3 probable solutions. You come back to my office with 3 probable solutions, I'll just take one. Because you are the practitioner. You are dealing with the child, you are dealing with the parent. And who else can understand and decide better than you as a practitioner? You come back to my office to be on the careful side, let's have 3 probable solutions and let me think one. And that's the reason that I started one period simply as pure thinking period. If children will only think, you can give them a situation to think with the probable solutions. Don't criticize this is the right solution, this is the wrong solution. I don't invite those kind of discussions in the class. Just give them some space to think and come out with the best answers. And certainly when we provide space to children to think, they really think great, and that adds into qualities. And many a times I will not hesitate in admitting that many a times I take my students' help in taking out solutions to the problems sometimes I come across. I will simply call 5-6 students. I will ask them to sit in front of me. I will discuss the problem, and I will invite their suggestions, their comments. You please comment on this situation. This is one alarming situation in the school. What do you think could be the best probable solution? So I think the involvement of students in the system, involvement of parents and all stakeholders in the system makes it a complete system.
I think this is one of the finest examples of collaborative, democratic, decentralized governance. And I think CBSE should be really proud and privileged to have you as a member of their governing body, because the officers just pushing things down the line are writ. Because God manifests in all of us, and what Madam is pulging out is like the way God just inspires each one of us individually. The individuality is taken into account, though within a system. It's not a chaos. This, and I love very important point. Like we put out our arms and ammunitions when we go into a certain office or something like that. Madam has put up a board, giant board. You leave your negative emotions over here.
You have rather, we feel fortunate to be associated with CBSE, and CBSE has a pool of great leaders, and that's the strength of CBSE.
Ma'am, the pleasure is always both sides. See, practitioners like you really add upon the value out there, because otherwise such a giant regulatory body can go astray. People of a different thought process, if they just want to put in a single writ, 32 lakh square kilometer of this country with different geocultural locales, they just cannot be governed by a single writ. So there has to be a balance out there, and I think it's nicely being.
I would simply praise the CBSE here for creating lots of opportunities for leaders like me to discuss, to deliberate, to experience, and then come back with the solution. The same we are role modeling in our own school system.
And just one last curiosity, one last question before we end this masterclass for want of time. You also have a great, I would say, penchant for more beyond teaching. Mentoring and counseling is something which you cherish a lot. Would you please like to tell us more about this pedagogy of mentoring and counseling learners and empowering them? Because you have a great belief in their innate potential, which you have expressed very elaborately. So, how does mentoring and counseling is unfolding at Mount Abu School, and what are your plans ahead?
Uh, that's a great component of the school education system. You know, without mentoring, counseling, guidance, nothing can happen. Because, like I said before, we have been dealing with different age group, and they have their own kind of problems. And it's not just the child who is facing a problem in the system. It may be any employee of the school. It may be any stakeholder. So that's the reason I think we are the first one in Delhi to open up a counseling and guidance center in the school, wherein I have. 3 dedicated counselors just to deal with the emotional well-being of the children in the school, mental well-being of the children of the school, and along with this, we also take their queries related to career and professions as well. So we have a dedicated center for this, wherein we have experts, and with this sudden announcement of lockdown, it was immediately decided that this is the department who has to start thinking immediately, because there will be lots of concerns. And over the period of these 3 months of lockdown, we are coming across so many mental health and well-being issues. And yesterday also I was sharing on a platform that when I was talking to a very renowned psychiatrist and psychologist of the country, I was shocked to hear that 1200 suicide happened during this lockdown only. So it's a very alarming situation, especially for educators like us who are dealing with the mindset of the children when they are socially not connected, that much connected, when their all activities have been put on hold. So, it was decided that we will have trainings first of all. All the members, those who are associated with counseling and guidance center, will have to undergo training. Then we had back-to-back trainings, 5, 6, 7 trainings, just to train them what kind of situations may come forward and what could be the probable solution. Then immediately we created a helpline number that was given to all the students in case of fear, anxiety, depression, aggression. You can call us anytime. This helpline will work 24/7. And then we started counseling our parents, because parent are the major stakeholder, and these days, especially when they are acting as a parent and teacher both at home. So mentoring happened for the parents, counseling happened for the parents class wise. And then we are very sensitive about a number of students we have with special needs.
Okay.
We are very sensitive and careful about dealing with their emotions, what kind of emotions are they carrying. So again, a simple solution was given to all the staff members, that you should be in connect with these children. You should have lots of discussions so that there is no vacuum created in any child. The child should not wait that after 15 days my teacher will connect me and then only I will express my feelings. No, make it as frequent as you can. Have lots of discussions, have lots of conversation with your students, ask them how are they feeling about, so that they express their feelings and there is no vacuum which creates a great damage later. So this is what this counseling and guidance department is doing. And with regard to career also, like outgoing batch of class 12, we keep updating them with all latest information coming. And we conducted so many orientation with our students, those who are too much upset with this all sudden announcement of not having class 12 examinations. So we have really done a lot, especially in this lockdown period, in addition to whatever we used to do in our routine.
Just a winding up question again. Your prolific personality has also one of the badges, one of the distinctions of being the National Commissioner of Hindustan Scouts and Guides. So what it is all about and how this is scouting and guide culture you are promoting, you are leading.
You know, scouting and guide is a very old concept in our country, and it carries legacy. You know, it talks a lot about inculcating discipline, values, and routine in our children. But I feel very painful that we have, over the period of time, we have lost its glory. We are not taking scouts and guides concept in the country in a very serious way, which we should. So that's the reason when I joined, I started thinking, oh, first of all, a booklet was created wherein all roles, responsibilities, and what kind of curriculum will we have, what kind of expectations do we have, what will be the learning outcomes of all these activities we are planning. So this kind of manual, you may say, or guidance booklet was created just to start with creating that awareness that what is this concept all about and how can students be benefited with this concept. And then we had back-to-back camps in my own school. Then I invited other schools also to have these kind of camps, and these are really very beneficial because um, um, this concept is quite old, maybe 50 years old now. But it was started with a very pure feeling, a very powerful feeling of making children cultured. Because when it comes to our own country, we immediately think of this word culture. We are proud of our culture. We are a heritage country. We have lots of culture here. Unity in diversity itself is a term to represent culture. So that culture has to be maintained, and culture will never go away in our history. So just to maintain that legacy of that culture, okay, what exactly is needed at school age and what exactly is needed when they are out from the schools and then when they join higher education. So it's like catching them young at age. So if we inculcate all good values at this age, when they are just 5 years, 10 years, then they continue, because those habits, those practices become habits. And once it becomes habit, then ultimately you are a successful person. So the objective of Hindustan Scouts and Guide is to maintain the culture and heritage of our country by inculcating all best values, all best practices in our children so that they grow well.
So viewers, here we had a prolific principal, a maestro in her own right, Madam Jyoti Arora, sharing with her life experiences, her urge, passion, and excellence, the three-step process which she enunciated in this masterclass uh, would be really helpful, a guiding beacon for all of us, and the most anchored in that spiritual foundation that God really leads our minds and ignites it with power of wisdom and truth. It is with this deeper belief she's really leading not just the Mount Abu Public School based in Delhi, but she is also influencing the larger national policy and practices of education while being one of the most illustrious members of the governing board of Central Board of Secondary Education. It was a real privilege to be your pupil for this small duration, ma'am. We are really thankful to you for taking out this time and illumining us with this vast array. And the most dominant takeaway lesson is when you feel the child at the center of education, the extra care just flows on and on. The innovation, the decentralization, even taking the students on board to solve their own problems. This is really rarely heard of, but you have really adopted it. And last but not least, the board, keep your negative emotions over here, park it over here, and then enter this learning space, this space of inspiration. With these concluding words, ma'am, we take your leave. Thanks a lot for joining us in this masterclass. It was really a terrific experience, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for your kind words again. And thank you very much for having me here on the board, for giving me an opportunity to express my feelings. And this is the time of crisis, and we all are praying for the safety of each other. And two great lessons what we have learned out of this crisis is having good connections. Connectivity is very important, and it should be the positive connectivity. I think with that feeling only we are able to survive during this long lockdown period and value the nature, which is very, very important. We have abused the nature a lot in the past. This is the result of that. So we should really keep these two things in our mind, that connectivity is very important and valuing the nature is also very, very important. With these words, I would like to take a leave. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.